All right, boys and girls, let's do some simplifying radicals. The first part of your notes just wants us to estimate between which two integers this square root would fall between. So square root of 67, 8 squared is 64, 9 squared is 81, so it's somewhere between 8 and 9. That's all it wants to do is estimate. So number 2, 134, that's somewhere between 11 and 12. Negative 20 is somewhere between negative 4 and negative 5. And then lastly, 195 is somewhere between 13 and 14, and make it negative. The next part, radicand. The radicand is just the thing underneath the square root. So for vocabulary-wise, if that pops up on the SAT or ACT or PSAT or whatever, it's just so that you know that. Next thing we're going to do is just simplify. Now, some of y'all are probably pretty good at this stuff. A lot of you like to do the tree, and that's cool, like 5 and 4, and then break that up. That just for me kind of gets a little messy, so I suggest maybe doing it a different way. You break it up into prime factors with square root symbols. Whatever works best for you. You're not gonna hurt my feelings if you don't do it this way. I just think it's cleaner and you can follow your previous step. So square root of 20, you can break that down to 2 times 10, and then break 10 into 2 and 5, and then you got a pair. And so one is going to disappear, and the other one goes on the outside. And then the leftover stays there. So 2 root 5. Just like that. That's how all these work. I'll hit a couple of weird ones, and I'll leave the rest for you to do. C, when you have a number on the outside, you're going to have multiplying. So 18 breaks up into 6 and 3, and then maybe we can break 6 up into 2 times 3. So then I have a pair of 3s. One dies, the other one goes on the outside. And I got 3 times negative 3, which is negative 9 root 2. So same thing for this, use multiply. Sometimes stuff will not break down, and so that's just your answer. B is good. And then I'll do G, because F kind of works the same way. We have on the outside 2x cubed. On the inside, my program just crashed. So let me reboot it real quick, maybe. All right, sorry about that. Anywho, back to letter G. We're going to simplify this as much as possible. We got a 2 and an x cubed on the outside. On the inside, we can break 12 up into 6 times 2, which would be 2 times 2 times 3. And then I got 4 x's and 3 y's. And then I'm just going to circle everything that's paired up. So 2 and a 2 is paired up, got a couple of x's that are paired up, and some y's. So bring the 2 on the outside, bring an x, the other one goes away, bring an x, the other one goes away, bring a y, the other one goes away. So I have 4, because 2 is 1 died, the other one goes outside. 2 times 2 is 4. And then I have 3 x's already, and I'm bringing 2 more out, so that's going to make a total of 5. And then I got 1 y, and then what's left over is my number and my letter, so 3y. Let's jump down to simplifying as far as multiplication and division goes. Multiplication, we're just going to multiply the outside numbers and the inside numbers. So 4 times 3 is negative 12. And then you can go ahead and multiply 6 times 15. Or we're going to break it up anyway, so why not just break up 6 and 2 times 3 and 15 to 3 times 5. Now I got a pair of 3's. One goes on the outside, the other one goes away. So I get negative 36 square root of 10. Boom. When we divide, it's just with radicals, it's good to know that if we have the same number over that same number, it's just 1. So like number 8, we're not going to use that rule. It's just like saying square root of 25 is 5, square root of 36 is 6. That's easy. But for like number 10, we can break 27 into 9 times 3 or 3 times 3 times 3 over 3. And then since I got a pair, one goes away, then one goes outside, and I have 3 root 3 over 3. The 3's cancel out because it's the same number over the same number, and my answer is just 3. We'll come back to 11 here in a second. I want to give you a definition here. Go ahead and pause it, write that down, and then we'll come back to it. Rationalizing the denominator is something that's very important. You learn it and we'll apply it quite a bit here. Basically, it's getting rid of the denominator that has a square root in it. So to do that, we're going to multiply the numerator and the denominator by whatever's underneath the square root. So in this case, square root of 3. So when we multiply straight across. So 1 times square root of 3 is 3, or square root of 3. On the bottom, we get square root of 9. Now we can actually find what the square root of 9 is. It's 3. And that's it. So if we flash forward to number 12, whatever's in the bottom of the square root, or the square root in the bottom, I should say, which in this case is multiply by square root of 5 on bottom and the top. Hold on one sec. Sorry about that. Anyway, so we're multiplying, that's terrible. Multiplying by square root of 5 on top and on bottom. So 4, and then square root of 30 over, and then I get 3 square root of 25. Well, we can actually find out what square root of 25 is. Square root of 25 is 5. So 3 times 5 is 15. Boom. So that's rationalize the denominator. The last section before we get to solving, which is super duper easy, is adding. Adding you can only do if we have the same thing. So let's think back to like 3x plus 5x. We can add that. That's 8x. But what if it was 3x plus 5y? That's just 3x plus 5y. Can't add anything. So here, they're the same. So 5 minus 7 is negative 2. And then write your square root. 14, they look to be different, but maybe, just maybe, I can break 20 up. 20 is 10 times 2, or 4 times 5. Still breaks down to 2 times 2 times 5. Got a pair of 2's, one goes on the outside, so I get 3 root 5 plus 2 root 5 is 5 root 5. Be sure we're adding, we don't multiply 2 times 3, we're adding here. The last thing is we're solving for x. So the last thing here, so if I'm trying to isolate x, we get x squared equals 25. Take the square root of both sides, x is 5. But remember, if we take the square root of something, it could be negative 5 times negative 5 or positive 5 times positive 5. So like what we like to do here is add a plus or minus in there. Same thing for like 16 and 18 and 17, all that stuff. Just get it on one side. Once you get this by itself, take the square root, so x equals plus or minus, and then break up 24 into 6 times 4, which would be 6 times 3 and 2 times 2. That's a 3, I promise. Circle one was on the outside, so I got plus or minus 2 root 6. That's how that's done, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you the best of luck. I'll see you tomorrow coming for tutoring. Bye-bye.